What's up, guys? I wanted to jump on here and make a video. I know I haven't made one in a while. Some of you may be may be thankful for that. The others have been asking, what have I got going on and when am I going to make another video? So here you go. Here's your video. I've been extremely busy, so that's the reason why I haven't been knocking out some videos on what I've got going on. But anyway, I figured had some spare time. Woke up early this morning, couldn't sleep, so I came on out here to the shop, fiddled around on a project that I have that I'm currently working on, which is, as you can tell behind me, it's a 2001 Kawasaki Vulcan Nomad 1500. We went on a ride not so long ago for a benefit for a good friend of mine that's battling cancer. And anyway, I'll try to make this as short as possible, but the lady that owns this bike had been riding all day long, and bike had been doing fine, had been starting fine, and throughout the different variations stops that we made along the way, when we got to a stop that we were doing, she went to go jump on her bike and start it, and well, it didn't work. She didn't really know what was going on. She was hitting the start button and getting the old death click from the old starter solenoid, that click, 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 click. So I'm going to get into what you can check if you ever run into this. Now, I will say, when it comes to electrical problems, it is like the number one controversial topic on the internet, just about. Whether it be videos, whether it be motorcycle forums, everybody has their own way of testing things and going about troubleshooting different electrical problems. I'm going to tell you what I did. I'm not saying what I did is, the only way that you can do it. There's, like I said, it's how I did it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But hey, you do it your way. Those of you that work on your bikes and whatnot, I'm just telling you and trying to make a video to help people out and tell you how I did it. All right, so don't scrutinize me and leave nasty comments down below and say, that's not how you do it. You do it this way, this way, this way. Please. All right, now we got that out of the way. The bike came in. She didn't know what to do, so she let me work on it, and that's okay. So when the bike came in, the first thing I did was I checked the battery. I checked the battery's voltage to see if it had, a good voltage. It read somewhere around 12.3, 12.5, and that's a good reading, at least in my book. That's fine. Healthy battery. So I know that sometimes batteries can read fine until you put them underneath a load, and then there goes the voltage. It can read fine when it's just sitting, but when you put it underneath a draw or a current of any type of load, it will fall on its face. So I load tested the battery. The battery tested fine, both load testing and testing it regularly. So after that, I moved on to the starter solenoid and checking out starter relays. When I tested the starter solenoid, it was getting power. Again, I don't exactly remember what the readings were. It was 12. It was above 12. I know it was above 12.3, around 12.5, whatever the battery was. That's what I was pretty much getting at the starter solenoid. So then I thought, okay, well, what I can do now is verify whether I'm getting power to the starter. So I took the negative lead of my multimeter, put it to the battery, and I took the positive lead to the multimeter and stuck it onto the positive terminal of the starter. And I touched the stud of the starter, not the nut. I have been giving false readings before from touching the nut, so I try to touch the stud of the starter. Again, that might be a wrong way of doing it, but that's what I do. When I touched the stud on the starter, I was getting power to the starter. So I knew at that point, pretty much was taking an educated and, well, not saying I'm smart, but I was taking an educated guess that the starter was more or less bad. You know, if I had proper voltage going throughout the whole system, that should have turned that starter over. It should work. And I also had an idea that this starter was stuck engaged. I say that because in the process of making the clicking noise and verifying I've got power here, there, and everywhere, I actually did hear the starter turn over very little, and my ears, when it heard it, knew right away that the starter was bad. It made a terrible whining turnover, like it was struggling, and it was, anyway, you just had to been here. So anyway, I pulled the starter out of this bike, and just let me go on to tell you, Kawasaki, boy, they make it interesting when it comes time to take a starter out. Just about everything in the front of that had to come off. Exhaust, crash bar, radiator fan, rear foot brake, master cylinder, the foot pedal, the brake lever itself, the whole part of the frame had to be dropped down just so I can get the cover off. And this is not just me trying to figure out how to get this off. I've got a manual, and I was going per manual's instructions, per the manufacturer's instructions on how to get this thing out. So, excuse me. So anyway, I got the starter out, and when I got it out, I went ahead and did the old test on the starter to see if it would spin over. And sure enough, when I did the old jumper cable trick, I hooked up the jumper cables to a battery. Then I put the negative lead of the other end of the jumper cables here. Yeah. And then I touched the stud on the starter, and it didn't do squat. No bueno. So I got another starter for the lady, and just to verify that one worked, because last thing I want to do is put a new starter in just because it's new. I never trust anything anymore. I've learned that along the years, but I did verify that the new starter works. Same thing. I did the same exact thing. Hooked everything up. Touched the stud on the starter. Zing! It works. So it's getting ready to go back in. Not today, because this video is being made on the 4th of July morning. I couldn't sleep this morning, so I came on out here and started working just to get a few things done. Get ahead of the game so I wouldn't have so much to do come tomorrow when I go right back at it. So anyhow, that's what I got going on. That's it. That's why I haven't made videos lately. I've been really slammed. In fact, I'm telling people when they call anymore that I'm about a good 2 weeks before I can ever get to anybody. So if anybody calls me right now and says, hey, that they got something they need to work on, I'm 2 weeks out before even getting to them. I got work orders above my head hanging that are 52 inches long on a light, and it's slammed across them, and then there's some down there at the end of the counter, and I ain't complaining. I'm blessed. But anyway, I just figured I would make this video real quick on what I got going on with the starter, kind of the protocol that I went through on diagnosing the problem. Again, there's a million different ways that people do it. That's how I did it. Was I right? In this case I was, but is it the exact way you can do it, or is there a ton of other things I could have done? Sure, I could test 1,000,001 different daggum things on this thing and just keep testing and going through the whole wiring harness and checking for bad grounds and blah 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 blah. I mean, we can go on all day long, but anyway, after 12, 14 years, you just, anyway. I hope y'all have a good 4th of July. Be safe, shooting fireworks off, don't blow nobody up, don't blow your hands off, fingers off, toes off, set the neighbor's house on fire, unless you don't like them. Then you can do what you want. That's that. I'm out of here. I'm going to go wash my hands, eat some breakfast, enjoy my day, and that's that. That's all I got for you. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Tried to make it as short as I possibly could. Running on about 10 minutes here, so I'm going to jump one out. Alright. Love all y'all. Stay cool. Later.